Yo. It's the Hardfood podcast. Back again! I've never been so close to you when you did it before.
Exactly, you get me? That's why you need to back up. See, there's a reason why I need the space.
Yeah, man, it's the Hardfood podcast, episode 49. You get me? We've got a special episode today. We're at the Way, Youth Zone, Wolverhampton. Sitting with a couple of youth workers at the moment.
Hey.
A trio of youth workers, and if you're going to be specific in that. What's good, man? You like saying? Let me get you lot's names first. I know you in the middle. What's your name?
I'm Josh. I'm a youth work coordinator for The Way.
Yeah.
I'm Shandell. I'm also a youth worker in The Way.
And I'm Jamie. I am the senior session lead at The Way.
Alright, what's good, man? Nice to meet you guys. My name is Juice English.
Me.
Yeah.
Should I do the formal?
Just do you? Yeah.
Adrian, Saxon, King Grey. What can I say about myself? Well, I'm a man of many talents, but yeah, just Adrian.
Well, yeah, man. Alright, so we're here today. Basically, boy, a couple episodes ago, we had Ricky Jackson on,
Big up, Ricky.
And there's a bit of controversy. He came on the podcast, spoke his mind, and I feel like basically he said some things that didn't really shine the best light on The Way. So then what happened after that? Me and Ricky came up here, had a tour around the place, and I put words in his mouth. He was kind of blown away, to be fair. Like, there's a lot of good stuff going on here. So I was like, okay, you know what? We have to, like, I feel like I kind of owe it to you guys to have the episode from here to let you guys, let the listeners and the people watching really know what's going on here. You know what I mean? Carla, the CEO, gave us a tour, and I said to her, basically, this side of The Way, we don't really see from outside. You know what I mean? When you drive past it, you see the big building, you don't really know what's going on inside, you get me? So we came in and everything looked proper. So I was like, okay, let me sit down with some youth workers, let me get the CEO, and let me, you know what I mean? And let's see what you guys are saying to it. So, how do you guys feel about The Way? Blanket statement, just.
That's a very broad statement.
I like the broad questions though, because it makes you see what you see in everyone's face. Everyone's like, "Yo, what do you mean?" Whoever wants to go first, how do you feel about The Way? Let me make it easier for you. How do you feel The Way has impacted the city?
Who's going to start?
So I'll go first. So personally, I feel like The Way is a breath of fresh air. I had the same concept of it when it was from the first inception, that it was going to be something for like the elitist in society, more or less.
Yeah.
And had lots of the similar outlook.
Oh, you thought when you heard the idea, you thought that's what it was going to be like?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But coming here and seeing how it's had a positive impact on young people from multiple different communities across the city just changed my outlook on the place. It looks like a big imposing super building, but inside the ethos of it is still like a 1990s youth club. It's still got that same vibe, the same feel. The staff are really supportive of our young people, look out for them. So for me, it's had a positive impact on the city from time when the youth service was being disbanded.
Yeah.
When we thought we were going to have nothing left, at least we've still got one shining example of what a youth club's supposed to be and what it's supposed to do.
So we all you guys youth workers before The Way?
Yeah.
So where, if you can say, where did you guys come from before? What youth clubs did you come from before? If you can say, or what areas?
So in terms of, for me personally, in terms of youth clubs and places that I've worked, I generally did a tour of, at the start of my career, I did a tour of schools working in behavioural units, pupil referral units, that kind of stuff. I had a really vested interest in behavioural management and basically turning the lives around of predominantly young black males within school settings who were suffering from just being left in the doldrums to kind of just fester really. So that was where my passion came from. But the rigid structures of schools and those kind of pupil referral units means that you can't do the kind of impactful work that you want to do.
Yeah.
So for me, drifted from over to the YMCA and did a little bit of work with 18 to 29 year olds, and then came here. And from coming here, this is where I'm invested, and this is where I want to stay.
Yeah.
See, for myself, I used to go to youth clubs.
Yeah.
So I used to go to the one in Low Hill, YRC.
Yeah.
That was my original first youth club. Then I moved from that area, and then I started to go to All Saints. And then from All Saints, I occasionally went to Graiseley, but then my base youth club was Epic Youth Cafe in town. Which that was where my heart lied at the time. Then, if you know what it's like back in the day when all your friends go and everything. And then that's when I had an opportunity to volunteer, and I started volunteering, and that's when I got into my apprenticeship there. And then in my apprenticeship, that's where I had the opportunity to work all over Wolverhampton. Well, all over Wolverhampton, and that's where, from Dunstall to Rocketpool to went back to Graiseley to All Saints. I just went all over them, but my base was Epic. But then while I was working there that's when the cuts of the youth service was happening.
Yeah.
So it's like Youth CAF was the last standing youth club, but then I applied for here because I knew that was going to end. But then I wanted to help the young people that used to go there come here also, and also of many other reasons. And then and that's when now I'm here. So I think when it comes back to the question, we say the impact it had, I feel like it came at perfect timing, because when the service cuts, when the youth service cut, there was nothing else out there, no other youth club facility at all, but then this just popped up. So it's like the impact it had, I feel like it's different to obviously the community youth clubs, but now this is the only one that's standing left, minus like obviously you got Beats a Bar and you got all the other youth organisations doing their part, but in the scale of a youth centre where they can come and do multiple different things, the impact, I think it's huge, because if it wasn't here, what would the youth be doing? Where would they go? And I think that's where it comes back to for me. So
No, it's true, man. I mean, I agree with exactly what Shandell said, and with what Jay said in terms of when it first was when it's first come about and hearing about all these it being built, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know, I wasn't for sure if it was the right place, because I did a bit of research on other youth zones that was around the UK, and I was just thinking about, I just don't know whether this is going to work. And I was very sceptical, and I come around, I had a tour of the building when it was up before I applied for the job, and I was amazed by the facilities, thinking to myself, you know what, this is in this building, the young people, they won't have to go to all these different places. They've got everything all under one roof, and with all the specialist workers that we've got, so we as well as at the heart of it, obviously, there's the youth workers, but then we've got the specialist workers that are able to develop them a little bit further than, as youth workers we can develop them so much, but then the specialist workers that are able to come in and do, like in the studio where we are now, in the sports, out on the football pitch, they'll be able to develop them that little bit further there. So for me, I was completely turned around straight away, to be honest.
It's weird that you had that perception that it was going to be like, well, you said it elitist, innit? Where I feel like that's a perception that's still kind of out there.
It is kind of out there, to be fair, because it's so like smack bang in the middle of town. You think people from certain areas aren't gonna go that far, or it may not appeal to them, and I think that's one of the barriers that may be holding certain people back to the excellent facilities that you guys have got. But coming here, it's really, really good what you've got here, and to be fair, I think that more people need to just have a look around first.
I think as part of what I do as well in my role, I head an outreach team as well. So we've only been operating for the last 12 months, but these are the stories that we're getting from the communities that we're going into, that there's a perception of the way that it's not for regular Joe from Wolverhampton, that it's for some kids who go to grammar school, or do you know what I mean? But that really isn't what we're about. So that's the job of our outreach team lately, has been to go out and kind of try and quash some of the rumours that we've got, do you know what I mean, parents turning up with Bentleys, dropping their kids off outside, and all of that kind of stuff. That we are generally just a youth centre for young people across Wolverhampton, regardless of your race, your social standing, where you've come from, where you've been. The doors are open to you, and once you're in here, you're just treated as one of our young people.
So when you said that it's got that 90s youth club feel,
Yeah.
Is that like how so? How similar is it from the youth clubs from back in the day?
I think for me, when I was going to Grove or when I was going to All Saints, it was about escaping. So whatever was going out on road, I would walk into the youth centre, and once I was in there, I could just be Jamie. I didn't have to be anybody else.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be no hard case. I didn't have to back anything. Didn't have to do anything. Could just go in, jam, play pool, listen to music, just chill with my friends, and just be out of the way. And that's the kind of environment that we've created here.
Yeah.
That young people are just able to come in. Obviously, within reason, we can't be having any drill music or whatever blasting around the centre. But within reason, they're allowed to listen to what they want to. They're allowed to come and talk to us about what they want to, get involved in what they want to. They're not forced to do anything. It's just, come in, get involved. If you don't want to get involved in anything, there's X amount of sofas downstairs. If you just want to come and chill out, just come and chill out. Just no expectations.
I think that is a massive thing, because some kids may just want somewhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our motto: somewhere to go, something to do, someone to talk to. Mm-hmm. The three things that we aim to do is just make sure that our doors are open 7 days a week, 364 days a year, to make sure that young people have a place to come. So if things aren't working right, they've got somebody to come to, somebody to talk to, something to do, just to get out of what might be a really bad existence that they're going through in their own personal spaces. So
to dispel the elitist kind of rumour then, so when you say would you say there's a big mix of children, not just from different races and that, but different areas as well?
Definitely.
So there's like...
I feel like, sorry, I don't know.
No, you're helping me out.
No, I think definitely. I always say, like, through my experience of youth work, you always go through phases, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you have like not transitions, but like you have the young people that get too old and then they leave and then they move on.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean, and you always go through that cycle. And we've been open for like coming up to 3 years now, and the broad spectrum of young people that's come through the doors. Like I was talking earlier, and I was saying I've learnt Spanish through working here. I mean, because we have young people who come and speak Spanish, and from everywhere, like from all over Wolverhampton, they just come. But when they come, it's not like you're in here and you're separated. You come and we're a family. If you, I mean, anybody who comes in, it's like welcome to the family. You, I mean, and we just open arms to anybody. Literally, I think even if I started, like, we could like list the diversity that's here, from additional needs to different race. From,
I think we've got members from every country in Europe.
It's very, very, very broad, but everyone knows they're accepted. And I feel like that helps as well, because there's such a diversity amongst the staff team. So when they come, it's not like you have one solid ethnicity of the staff team. So they know, and I know that feel like when you used to go youth club and you had that youth worker, you know, you could relate to. You look at them and you're like, you know what, you get me. You know the path. And even if you come in and you'll come across that youth worker that, you know what, it's like, you don't get me. But then you look across and you see that one over there. There's always it's just a diverse building, from the staff to the young people to the paintings on the wall.
Do you think that you need more, how can I put it, not publicity, but more people need to know what you do? I feel that, because seeing what you do here, I wish that more people knew, even though it's on their doorstep, you know what I mean? But you need to be celebrated, because you're doing good things. And I feel that by being celebrated, put in front of like the public eye a bit more, people will be like, oh, I didn't even know that was available to me.
I think also as well, so because like you said, the perception is the elitist kind of thing, more push needs to be done to like pull people's arm, just to kind of convince people. Because I know, to be fair to you guys, I know there is a lot of advertisement that you guys are actually doing, but it's almost as if you're kind of coercing the community, because again, the perception is that the way almost came and closed down the youth clubs. That is the perception that's out there. It's like, the youth clubs, everyone knows the youth clubs go down, and a lot of the areas are upset about it. But again, the perception is that the way closed them down. and that's not true, innit?
No, it definitely isn't true. He was kind of. I think we feel that the youth service was going to. The conversations to disband the youth service were happening probably 2 or 3 years before the building was even conceived as an idea.
Yeah.
Then they were winding up the youth service. The building was conceived as an idea, and it's just a happy coincidence that we opened a few months after the youth service had been disbanded. So then, for the communities, it does look like that we were built in purpose of replacing the other provision.
Yeah.
But when the concept was put in, when the idea was put forward, it was always that the building would be, and the way would be, an accent to the other things that were going around in the city. It was just by chance that we had a change of government.
Yeah.
We already, without getting too political, we already know what happens with this government.
Yeah.
And things get cut, and the poorest in society always suffer.
Yeah.
And as one of the poorest cities in the country, we're always going to be one of the first to suffer. We're always going to be one of the first to get cuts.
It's true, man.
I don't know. We're one of the poorest cities in the country.
Yeah.
Shut me, stuff.
I think last year we were top 10.
Like the bottom 10.
Yeah,
You know,
bottom
I-
10.
Yeah,
I didn't even get.
Wolves in the Prem now, so yo. When it's coming back.
Yeah, bare money in the bare money.
Alright then. So you said earlier about no drum music basically, but what happens to that guy that wants to play his drum music here?
So we'll have the discussion. We'll have the discussion about why we don't feel it's appropriate for them to be playing that kind of music in here. We have some exceptional artists who work in our music studio, and generally the conversations generally drift from, discussion of why we don't allow the music because it glamorises the kind of gang life violence and calling people out, and the city's blighted with that kind of stuff already. Then we'll have a drift upstairs, come and talk to the guys, Vital, Peasy and Pedro, who work in here, and the guys will work with the young people and allow them to make expressive music, but have the messages that are delivered in that expressive music be a more positive message, be more aligned to going out and furthering your career within the music industry rather than inflaming tensions that are already happening within our city.
Yeah. It's
Positive drill.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a bit difficult though, because it's almost, I mean, I don't know if the kids are looking at it this way, but it's almost teetering on being hypocritical, because back in the day when we was at youth club, we were like knee deep in the grime scene, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, and keeping it real, that was a big part of the youth club back in the day. You'd walk in and there's a set to the left, you know what I mean? MCs hooded up and everything, and that was a big part of youth club back in the day.
See, but we still have that.
Yeah.
If you, I mean, I'm not saying you walk in and everyone's there hooded up.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, we will have sets. We have open mics where people can come and spit. And there's an audience there. We do these events where them things happen. You can come here. You can record your music, write your music. They'll staff will sit down with them and support you with your writing. It's like we're not saying you can't do this here, but if you're gonna do it, do it in a positive way. In a positive way, push a positive message. And I think you're always going to catch them young people that, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to do it my way. If you want to do it your way, you can do it your way. But in the way, you're doing it our way.
Sounds like you got bars,
A few bars, you know. My sleeve, you know.
You know what, saying that, speaking of events, you guys got the Wayfest coming up, innit?
Yeah.
I just heard about that yesterday, you know, like, what is that? What's the Wayfest?
So the Wayfest is something we've done similar last year.
Yeah.
It's just basically like an annual thing that we're starting to do, and it's just like a big event where there's performers, there's food, there's entertainment, there's activities to do. It's just like the whole of it's just like a grand scale events. We do events throughout the year, mini ones here and there, but we try and do big ones every so often. But it's just like a day where they can just come, chill, listen to music. Like I said,
it's an opportunity to dress up like you're going to a nightclub, or do you know what I mean? So basically the Way Fest based on having a festival inside the building.
Yeah.
So we'll get caterers in to come and do us some kind of, do you know what I mean, jerk chicken, or we had Mr. Miami in to do some American flavours at our last event.
Off that chicken was sweet.
Yo, Mr. Miami, man.
Shout him out.
Don't get juicy.
I don't know if did you like hear my story, Rumble? I know you heard it. Everyone was being polite in it. But you hear it. Starving. So okay, in terms of like,
I was gonna say.
yeah, go on, you say.
Is there situations where you feel like you're working, but you wish you could do more for certain like kids that come in?
You know what? As youth workers, I think it'd be wrong if we said that we don't leave this building and think, you know what, I wish we could do more. You know, there's not enough hours sometimes for us to be able to, although we're open for such long sessions, sometimes there just isn't enough time for us to do, you know, the work we do. And don't get me wrong, we do some amazing work. We've got some amazing staff members, and it's something like we can't knock the diversity of our staff members, like we've already said, and like with some of the specialisms they have. But unfortunately, there's sometimes we just wish we could do that bit more for them. And I know me and Jamie had a conversation earlier today that when we go home sometimes it just takes ages for us to get to sleep because we're thinking to yourself, you know what, maybe if I did this and maybe if I did that. But when we're in that situation, we've done all we can, but we just always wish we can do some more.
I think as a youth worker, if you don't go home at night thinking or wishing that you could have done more, you're probably not in the right profession.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's always that that scale. There's always room for improvement in anything you do. You can never just do it and you think, yeah, I've maxed it. There's no max. There's always more you can do, and no matter what we're doing here, I know from now to like a year down the line, we'll probably reach that mark. But then from when we're there, there'll be more we want to do. It just always keeps evolving. But for the young people, I think as well, we do what we can, but there's always more. More.
You know, some of the kids that come through, do they express the interest of becoming a youth worker and actually come on board?
Yeah. I always say you got those handful, like when you see like in like 20 years time when I'm retired, you know they're gonna be here. Yeah, so much. And I think that's what it is with the youth, like which I'd love for the world to see. And especially like the generation gap, but there's just so much potential within the young people of today. And I feel like how media or social media, all of that, how it portrays them is this, I'm going to go into the stigma that is put out there, but the youth and this future generation, there's some gems out there, there really is. And I know obviously I can't shout out certain names because of confidentiality. But if I could, like I would. But there is this, it's beautiful seeing it, and that's the next generation. It is. But there's definitely some potential youth workers in there.
We've got, obviously with our senior members, so they're 13 to 19, we have, there was one young person, obviously we can't say a name, but he comes to me, he's like, Josh, any chance I can come down on a junior session? I want to come work with Vital in the studio. And there's some young people that have like spoke to Vital about me because he was on our Wires channel. And basically he come down, he did a session with Vital, and the young people, like the junior members, 8 to 12 year olds, there was just like absolutely loved him. Just in here, just sort of doing the same sort of thing as what Vital was doing really, like, and just helping them write some bars, sitting down with them, going through, just having a conversation of how he's become, how he's developed, and that's all that sort of stuff. So in terms of young people coming in, youth workers, I mean, I thought he was coming in, he's going to come and take my job, because he was the way I'm telling you, the way he was speaking to some of the junior members was like amazing. It's like really, really nice for us to see when we've worked with them for so long, to develop into that man. It's good.
We have young leaders as well, don't we?
Yeah.
Like some of the senior members who help out, volunteer, same way we've done like work experience before. So not like when they're in that school phase, when they need to get that work experience, and then they can come in, if you know what I mean, try it out for a week, if you know what I mean. And it's all about empowerment. It's all about empowerment.
So how do you guys resolve incidents here? Because I know it was mentioned that kids just get banned, but I know there's a process before getting to that.
So, obviously, we can't go into incidents.
Yeah, no, sorry, without detail.
Yeah, but within the building, as a youth worker, I feel like it's our responsibility to reflect society. So, if there's issues that arise in society outside you commit a criminal offence, you do something wrong, there's going to be sanctions to your actions.
Of course, yeah.
So we work on the same principle here. Banning a young person comes under the same category as criminalising a young person. If we can avoid it, we avoid it.
Yeah.
There's not a chance that somebody will come in and do something slight and be banned for something slight. We do have cool-off periods. We have young people who will do something wrong and we'll tell them that for the next 3 or 4 days you go home, you're not allowed to come back, you go think about what you've done, and then when you come back in, you report to reception and you come and have a conversation with whoever's put you on a cooling off period before you come back on session. Then that way we can get them to go home, reflect on what they've done, come back in, have a intelligent discussion about why they went on cool off, what's the process of them reintegrating back into the session, and kind of how their behaviour should improve moving forward. So it's a rarity that anybody gets banned.
Yeah.
Generally it's cool off periods, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's not a vast amount of time, but some of them who use the service regularly will be absolutely kind of cut off from everything that they do if you put them on a cool off for 2 days.
Yeah.
So the impact on their lives for not being here for 2 days is a massive impact. So just putting them on a cool off for 2 days can have the effect that the next time that they're thinking about doing something, that more time is just something really petty that's not even worth getting into trouble for, but they'll think about it the following time.
Yeah.
Cool.
I hear that.
So, something you said earlier is really like hurting my soul still.
What, the chicken?
Nah, not the chicken. Basically, Wolverhampton being one of the brokest cities. that's hurting my soul.
The 5th worst plan.
That was a couple of years ago, man. Things have changed. It's like,
Yo, I told you, man, we're in the Prem.
So where do we see the future of the city? Like, I know, but I like my broad questions.
Future of the city.
Future of the city, Wolverhampton. Where are we going as a city? We're in the Prem now.
You don't think
Things are looking good.
Don't you think you want to like say where's the direction of the way going? Because
Nah.
it's
Just
like, you know, that's a bit much.
We can answer the direction of the city. Obviously, dropping a comment that we're one of the poorest cities in the country, but I don't know if anybody else feels it, but it feels at the moment like there's some kind of sea change going on.
Yeah.
We're seeing development starting to happen in the city.
Premier League football.
We've got Premier League football back in the city.
And there's roadworks everywhere.
Yeah, like we're extending the metro links.
Yeah.
Sorting out those potholes.
Yeah, extending the metro links, putting new cinemas in, new food courts, all of this kind of stuff. It feels like, for the first time in probably 20 years, like the city's being invested in. We're actually seeing change happening. We're seeing in some of the outskirts of the areas, in Blakenhall, in Parkfields, they're starting to develop houses and develop wasteland and build new stuff. It feels like somebody somewhere is starting to pay attention.
Yeah. Do you feel that you guys can kind of have your own imprint on the coming generation that's coming through? Because at the end of the day, a large amount of the adults, well, a great amount of the adults in the city in the next, 15, 20 years will be coming through here.
Yeah.
And do you feel empowered by that responsibility?
Definitely.
Yeah. I feel like, just to jump in quickly, I feel like the team that we've got, the passion that our workers have got, the skill sets that we've got, and the vast majority of our workforce are born and bred in the city, lived here all of their lives, so they understand the communities that they're coming to work with, understand the young people from those communities. So yeah, I feel like we'll make an impact on hundreds, if not thousands, of young people's lives. Oh no, definitely thousands of young people's lives over the next 10 or 15 years.
And I feel like if we haven't already, no, I read that wrong. I feel like we've done that and we're still doing that. If that makes sense, like to the young people who are in today, if you, I mean, like, and I always say as a youth worker, you can have how many different conversations, but all it takes is that one day where that person needs you And that 5-minute conversation, you don't know what that could do for them in their mind, if you know what I mean. And then I know I do it with my youth workers, if you know what I mean, still to this day, where I was like 15-year-old Chandel and I've got this problem and that problem, and I used to sit down with my youth worker and, you know what I'm saying, shout out to Catherine, you know. You know what I'm saying? And I used to talk to her about my problems, and still to this day, them conversations come to my head, and I'm here where I am, if you know what I mean, down to all the support that the youth workers and myself and my family, you got those contributing factors. But a youth worker, you know, I feel like what a youth worker does for a young person through personal experience can make such an impact on their life. It's like, you're not like your youth worker's your parent, but it's like your mum, stroke your friend, stroke your teacher, stroke all in one that you can talk to, and you know you can trust them and they ain't gonna judge you. Like, and that's the beauty of youth work.
It is the fact that you know as a youth worker that a conversation you might have today might not have the desired impact that you want it to for the next 10 years or 15 years. But one day that young person might sit down and go, do you know what? I remember Jamie said this to me once, you know. And at that point, my work's done. Because at that point, they've made the decision that we spoke about 15 years ago, but they remember the conversation and they're making positive moves now on the back of that conversation. That means my career's worthwhile.
And just jumping in quickly, like for us, the amount of young people that come through the door, it doesn't matter to us, because we'll work with any young people that come through the door. It doesn't matter if there's only 10 young people that come to a session, it doesn't matter if there's 200 young people come to a session. We'll work with the amount of young people that we have. But for us, it's so frustrating because, as Jamie said, the amount of skilled youth workers we have here and the passion and just the desire to work with young people that our staff have, is frustrating when we have those stigmas attached to us and we don't have the young people coming through the door, because we know we can make such a positive impact. And that's why it's frustrating sometimes.
I hear that still. I hear that. Getting Juice has got a tear in his eye.
Nah, you know, I don't know yet. That's the reason. Nah, I'm not crying. Well, that's the reason why this episode had to happen. Because seriously now, when you guys invited us through and we had a tour of the place and just seeing the passion from Chandel and Sue, that helped with the tour as well. I thought, you know what, this has to happen, because all the youth workers I've spoken to outside the tour as well, everyone's just really passionate. You know what I mean? So there's no way, I don't believe that the way is out here for malicious intent or anything like that. I can't say anything bad that can be said about it.
I think that my view on it is that more people need to know. I think that if more people knew, and it is accessible, you know what I mean? It's in town, and I think that by knowing what they can do here and how they can develop outside of school hours, and make friendships, it's just positive. I just feel that more people need to know, and the parents need to acknowledge it. That's the main thing in my opinion, because some parents don't really know, and they're gonna say, it's this, it's that. They've got their own preconceived idea, so you just need to knock that, bun that, and then just say, look man, come, they've got lots of positive things they can be doing, get involved and just try your best, man.
You know what, we have different ideas of how to sort of approach it, but I'm going to put you guys on the spot now. So if you was in our position, and how would you approach it? How would you try and engage with the parents? How would you try and get the young people that are not coming here for whatever reason, how would you bring them in?
To be honest, for me, I don't know if you already do this, but get work in schools as well.
So a big part of what we do, we've got a schools and outreach coordinator who goes out and does bits in schools. Schools have been, I'm not going to say they've not been receptive, but they've been slow on the uptake over the last few months. But obviously we just hit September again. We're touching base with all of those schools again. We're going out delivering assemblies, taking over lunch times.
We have the mini buses as well, pickups.
We've got minibus pickups that are travelling from different schools at different times to come and, even if it's just for an hour, just to go and pick up 15 young people, come and show them the building, show them what it's like, and go and drop them back off.
Yeah.
So they just get a sense of what we're doing and what you can gain from being here.
Yeah.
I think the assembly is really important because if you can get them, even from primary school, to get into year 7 and they know what's available at the way, they know the options there, and then by the time they get to 13, 14, 15, they know they can just say, okay, cool, Mum, I'm going such and such, or I'm going to the way, and da-da-da-da. And it's that awareness, if you hit them in school, they have to be in assembly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, personally, more events, like, you mentioned the Wayfest, but like just more events outside of the way that obviously are going to draw more people into the way. It's easier said than done, but I don't know, bonfire night, Christmas, summer stuff, I don't know, just more stuff outside the way. Like I said, when you go into town, you see the big building, and it feels like a lot of it is happening inside the way. Nothing bad can be said about what's going on inside the way, you know what I mean? Maybe outside the way, including the community a bit more. I know there's community outreach happening at the moment, but
taking the way out there.
But in terms of events as well, because I know it's in the early stages, but there's a few like workers out in the community, maybe like events in the community. Just I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for coming through, man. It was really important, and I think that a lot of people gain a lot by seeing it. I think parents just need to say, look, man, it's somewhere for them to go, and it's with kids nowadays. That's the reason why I expressed the idea of just somewhere to go is really important. Just because, don't get me wrong, every parent would like their child to sit down at home and just do their homework and be perfect. But sometimes home's not the place where they want to be. Yeah. And it's the case that a parent would rather they be here, they're accounted for, they're not getting in no trouble, they're not in any badness, and they're being looked after by people that actually are bothered about their well-being. So by getting that message out there, I can't express it enough to parents to say, look, man, the opportunities there and the facilities are there to help them. So
and parents, they can come here and do their homework.
And I think just to add to that as well, like if there is any parents or any carers or guardians or anybody who is curious to know what we do here, same as young people, you're more than welcome to come down, take a tour, have a look around, talk to the youth workers, and you can see what we're doing. Like, it's an open door policy, daytime, during session time. We're open 7 days a week. Just come down and have a look and see what we do, and then you can make a decision from yourself. But we're open to everyone, as long as you're not too old to come into this.
Yo, you 25-year-old people, don't come up in the way. You can come for a job, but don't come late.
And can I just quickly add on that in the next sort of 6 weeks, we're going to be starting up like a parent/community forum as well. Okay. So to involve parents a little bit more and involve community a little bit more about what we're doing. So basically it'll be sort of coming in, sort of meeting each other and going through sort of some key things that have been going on over the sort of the period time, and then asking them for suggestions and stuff like that. So please keep an eye out for that over the next sort of 6 weeks.
Yeah, man. That's big.
Alright, cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
you
to
for
you
coming
guys
in,
and letting us have kind of our say and letting the community know what's going on.
Yeah, man.
It's appreciated.
And that is a short episode of the Hardfood podcast. Why are you smiling?
I'm laughing at Spock. Spock's here, by the way.
Yeah, Spock's here.
Hey, Spock.
Hi. I haven't got my radio voice today.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to round out the episode with some final words from the CEO of The Way, Carla Priddon, joined us today. Thank you very much for letting us do the episode from here and for taking us on a tour over there as well. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. As we know, the episode is this episode has been birthed from an episode a few weeks ago. What was your initial reaction to that episode?
Thank you for coming, by the way, and it was lovely to give you a tour.
Thank you.
It was obviously a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
People clamoured around my desk on Monday morning to tell me that we were featured on a podcast that was being broadcast on lots of Facebook channels.
Yeah.
Mostly I was just a bit disappointed because obviously it's not how I see what we do.
Yeah.
And it's a shame to see something through somebody else's eyes when it's not what we do. We have obviously over 1,000 young people come every single week and spend time with us. We do work out in the community, we partner with organisations. So to kind of, we talked about it, slightly controversial, slightly negative. It was a bit disappointing, but I was excited to meet you.
Do you feel that Ricky's views reflected the views of the community?
It's a difficult one to answer. Obviously, I have to say that some people do have those views. Of course they do. There's been quite a lot of relationship work and work within the community since we opened. There was some bad feeling, which obviously we talked about, about the opening of the way. All I would say is we have an open opportunity to visit. I'd love to hear people call me, speak to me, and I can show you what we do here. But yeah, it would be naive to think Ricky was the only person in the whole of Wolverhampton that had those views. Yeah.
I mean, it was a case of the youth clubs closing within the city. I mean, obviously the youth clubs hold a special place in everyone's heart, or everyone that went to youth clubs at least, what I mean? So for those to close and for the way to open up, it's often perceived that they were closed because the way was on its way.
And they really weren't.
Yeah.
But I have said that so many times in so many meetings with so many different people. And I feel like some people just, they can't get over that. Like they're absolutely convinced it doesn't matter what I say. Obviously, we have received council funding, but the majority, over 80% of our funding, comes from private businesses and people who weren't previously funding youth centres or provision in any way. I mean, obviously you met my youth team. Many of them worked in
youth before.
Youth provision across the city before. But it definitely isn't as simple as youth clubs closed, we opened.
Yeah.
But I do know there is some feeling in the community that's...
So how did the way begin?
Steve Morgan.
Yeah.
So we're part of a group of youth zones across the UK. Steve Morgan went and visited another one and wanted one in Wolverhampton.
Okay.
And put in a significant amount of money.
Yeah.
Personally. And then we spoke to local business people who give us over £500,000 a year, and there is money that wasn't previously supporting the youth in Wolverhampton. And then it took from 2012 to 2016 to get from the idea of Steve saying the young people of Wolverhampton really need, we'd love to give this to our young people in Wolverhampton, to the doors opening. And then since then we had 58,000 visits in 2016 and 60,000 last year. We're on for a similar figure this year.
So what are the targets and objectives of the way?
Without boring you with my strategic plan, the kind of 5 overarching objectives are to run safe, open access youth provision every day of the week. We're open 52 weeks of the year. This year we're going to be open every day other than Christmas Day, Boxing Day and New Year's Day. We're open for 46 hours a week outside of school time. Basically we're open if school is shut. So that's our number one kind of main objective. Our second one is to deliver targeted work. So we do projects around mentoring, employability, outreach, numerous employability projects, to be honest. Some works with local schools, and that's where we're looking at specific issues that people tell us are issues within the community, and we're trying to address those with the young people. Our third aim is obviously to stay financially solvent. That's my job. Our fourth is partnership working, which we already do quite a lot of, but when we met and we've talked about it, are always keen to partner with other people in the community. And the last one is us marketing.
So just So you meant
Me.
no, just one. I'm gonna edit this, you know. So you mentioned the community hubs. Went into it in a bit more detail on the tour, but what exactly are the community hubs?
Yep. So we were really lucky to receive funding from the National Lottery to go and do outreach in some of the areas of the community of Wolverhampton where less people have been able to come and get to us.
Yeah.
We're working in 4 key areas across 3 years: Bilston, Wensfield, Penderford and Dovecote, and Whitmarines. What we're doing is 2 days a week working in a community hub, working with the community there. We were in the Lunt and Ashmore Park, the ones that we've done. We're just about to start our second 2 places.
That's Penderford and Whitmarines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As in, when I say just about to start, I mean this week, the start of the new school year. And then we have 2 days a week where we put on minibuses and we encourage the young people to come and visit us.
Yeah.
Some young people come visit us, then carry on coming and visiting us. Other people come, have a look, and then want to go back to whatever's happening in their local hub.
Yeah.
And some don't leave the hubs. They prefer a smaller space, because it is, you'll know, you can hear it over the, it's loud, it's busy, it's constant. It doesn't suit every single young person.
So is the hubs essentially like youth clubs, like the good old 90s feel youth clubs?
They're closer to that. Yeah. What we're obviously looking for is volunteers and people to support it so that they can stay open and sustainable.
Yeah. So what's the response been like to the idea of the community hubs?
It's generally been quite positive. We have encountered some of the things we talked about earlier in terms of you shut all the youth so.
Oh, the perception.
Some of that perception work.
Yeah.
It's generally been quite positive. I guess what we would be really nice, what we'd really like to do is hear about people that are already there and already working there. We're not looking to replicate things that people are already doing. We want to kind of partner up and work with people. And some of that can be quite difficult to just find out who's actually still around and working with young people.
So are you currently working with any other organisations within the communities or within the city? Any?
So we run a forum out of here that meets every quarter. We do that in partnership with Wolverhampton Voluntary WVCS.
Yeah.
Sector. It's a community. Voluntary? Yeah, that one, sorry.
WVCS,
And we originally started talking to 50 organisations through there and different charities, some community groups, some kind of national names, and then obviously some smaller.
Yeah.
We, at the moment, probably regularly work with about 30. So we have some people who just use our space and they use it at a reduced rate or very, very, for a token donation. And then we have some where we partner. So we're working with Zebra Access, which is a charity for deaf young people.
Okay.
And they've done some training for our staff. We've done some work specifically kind of with sessions specifically aimed at deaf young people. But we can still do more. We can. It's just getting to speak to the right person in the right place who wants to kind of have a mutual partnership.
Okay. Yeah. You invited us a few weeks ago on the tour, and again, it was almost blown away. You know what I mean? There's so much things. You showed us kitchens, showed us music studios, just chill out rooms. There's a big sports facility. Like, there's so much going on here. I said to the youth workers, I said I really want that side of the way to be promoted more, you know what I mean? Because again, you drive around town, you see the big building, you don't really know what's going on the inside unless you're already involved, and unless you're already involved, I don't know what I'm saying. Basically,
you're not gonna just stick your head in, are you? You're not just gonna turn up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Then is that something that you encourage, more public tours? And
absolutely,
it was literally just a case of you just said to us, I'll just come around, we'll show you around, and it was like, okay, and like cool. Me and Ricky came through. We had a look at everything, and you was trying to show us more. He was like, nah, parking's running out.
True story.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, we're open at 4:00 every single day. You're welcome to, if you're just walking past, to just pop in.
Yeah.
If you particularly want a tour, if you want to come and see me or someone else, then I'm one of the lovely youth workers that you met on the earlier bit of the video.
Yeah.
Just call and pop in. But yeah, you can come in whenever you want, with or without, obviously, your own young people.
Yeah. So where can the people get in touch with you and find you? And
all of the socials. And you can, so our information, email address is checked all the time. Just call up reception. Reception opens at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Make a phone call. Stick your head in. It's open all the time after 4:00.
Yeah.
That's it really. Just
Instagram, Facebook.
Instagram,
pages.
Facebook.
I know it's at The Way Youth. Zone.
Yes, it is. It's at The Way Youth Zone. It's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Might be it. Those are the 3 main ones that we use.
And thanks again for inviting us and letting us do the episode for you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Cool. Thank you very much. And that was the Hardfood podcast special episode from The Way. Big up Spock again in the building. Thank you again. See you later.